June 27th, 2010. World Cup, Germany vs. England, round of 16. A 20-year-old wearing number 13 receives the ball 18 yards from goal. He's not the fastest player on the pitch, not the strongest, not even close to the most skillful. But Thomas Müller sees something others don't. A gap, a moment, a space that shouldn't exist. One touch, goal, 4-1 to Germany. He doesn't celebrate wildly, just raises his arms with that crooked grin, as if this was always inevitable. Here's what's crazy. This kid from a tiny Bavarian village just destroyed England's World Cup dreams. But that's not even the remarkable part. The remarkable part? He did it without doing anything spectacular at all. Pähl, Bavaria, 1989. While other kids kick balls against walls dreaming of thunderous strikes, 10-year-old Thomas Müller was studying something else entirely: empty spaces. At his village training sessions, something strange would happen. When the coach shouted, "Mark your man," all the boys would chase their assigned player. Except Thomas. He would drift away, find an empty patch of grass, wait. "Thomas, what are you doing?" his father asked after training. "Waiting for the ball to come to me, Papa. It always does." When Bayern Munich scouts came to his village academy in 2000, they weren't looking for the next Pelé. They were looking for intelligence. And this lanky kid from Pähl, his brain worked differently. Where will the ball be in 3 seconds? While others chased where it was, Thomas positioned himself where it would be. His first youth coach at Bayern noticed something odd. Thomas never seemed to run very fast, but somehow he was always first to every loose ball. Because while others were running to the ball, Thomas was running to where the ball was going. Through Bayern's academy, coaches struggled to define him. Striker? No, he dropped too deep. Midfielder? No, he was always in the box. Winger? No, he drifted inside constantly. But Thomas didn't care about positions. He cared about spaces. And in 2008, aged 19, he made his Bayern debut. 7 minutes as a substitute. No goals, no assists. But something had shifted in Bavaria. The space interpreter had arrived. Munich, 2009. When Louis van Gaal became Bayern coach, most expected him to buy superstars. Instead, he did something crazy. He built his team around an awkward 20-year-old who couldn't run fast or shoot hard.
Müller spielt bei mir immer,
Van Gaal declared.
Müller always plays for me.
His teammates thought the Dutch coach had lost his mind. Thomas looked like a fan who'd wandered onto the pitch by mistake. But Van Gaal saw what others missed. This wasn't about technique. This was about football intelligence distilled into human form. The 2009 to day 10 season became Thomas's masterpiece. 52 appearances, 19 goals, 16 assists. Numbers that told only part of the story. Because what Thomas was really doing was rewriting football's rulebook. He was proving that you didn't need pace if you had positioning, didn't need power if you had precision. Van Gaal's tactical meetings became Thomas Müller masterclasses. Be where the ball will be, not where it is. And thus Bayern's most successful era began, not with a superstar signing, not with revolutionary tactics, but with a village boy who understood that football's greatest secrets were hidden in plain sight. South Africa, 2010. World Cup. Thomas arrived at his first major tournament as Germany's least famous player. He left as the Golden Boot winner and football's newest sensation, but not in the way anyone expected. England, round of 16. That goal against England? Perfect example of the Müller magic. While defenders watched the ball, Thomas watched the defenders. While they moved toward pressure, he moved toward space. One touch, goal. Argentina, quarterfinal. Same story. While seasoned defenders focused on the obvious threats, the 20-year-old ghost drifted into the perfect position. Goal number 2. Germany advancing. 5 goals, 3 assists, Golden Boot winner, best young player. But here's what made it remarkable. Not one of those goals was spectacular. No 30-yard thunderbolts, no mazy dribbles past 5 defenders. Just a young man who understood that football's most beautiful moments happen in the spaces between. Germany lost in the semi-final to Spain. Thomas was suspended, forced to watch helplessly from the stands. But something had changed forever. The boy from Pähl had shown the world a different way to play football. Intelligence over athleticism, positioning over pace, brain over brawn. Munich, 2013. By now, Thomas was Bayern's secret weapon. Not their most expensive player, not their most famous, but their most important. The Champions League semi-final against Barcelona, the best team in the world. Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, players who'd revolutionized football. But Thomas had his own revolution to complete. First leg, Allianz Arena. Barcelona expecting to control the game through possession and technique. Thomas had other plans. 2 goals, both perfect examples of his genius. Not spectacular strikes, but goals that came from being exactly where Barcelona didn't expect him to be. 4-0, Bayern's biggest victory over Barcelona in decades. Wembley, Champions League final, Borussia Dortmund. Thomas didn't score, but his movement created the space for Mario Mandzukic's opener. His intelligence unlocked Dortmund's defense. Treble complete. Thomas at the heart of everything. Because while others chased individual glory, Thomas understood something deeper. The best players make everyone around them better. Munich, 2015 to 2020. Most players peak and decline. Thomas did something different. He evolved. From prolific goal scorer to creative mastermind. From space finder to space creator. 2019-20 season. The numbers were insane. 21 assists in the Bundesliga alone. A single season record that may never be broken. But those assists weren't simple tap-ins for teammates. They were moments of pure genius. Passes that split 3 defenders with surgical precision. Through balls that arrived exactly when strikers needed them. Crosses that found players in spaces they didn't even know existed. Thomas had become football's ultimate conductor. While others played the instruments, he composed the symphony. Champions League final, Lisbon. PSG versus Bayern. Thomas didn't score the winning goal, but his movement and intelligence created the tactical framework that allowed Kingsley Coman to find the decisive space. Another treble, another masterpiece. But this time, Thomas wasn't just contributing to greatness, he was orchestrating it. But even geniuses have blind spots. European Championships, 4 tournaments, 17 appearances, 0 goals. For a player who scored in World Cups and Champions League finals, the Euros became Thomas's kryptonite. 2012, 2016, 2020, 2024. 4 chances to conquer Europe with Germany, 4 disappointments. The 2018 World Cup brought deeper pain. Germany, the defending champions, crashed out in the group stage. Thomas, at 28 and in his prime, watched his legacy questioned for the first time. In the tunnel after Germany's elimination, cameras caught Thomas sitting alone, head in hands, the weight of a nation's disappointment visible in every line of his body. Maybe I'm not good enough anymore, he admitted to a close friend later. Maybe my time has passed. The media were brutal. System player, past his peak, one-dimensional. For the first time in his career, Thomas Müller doubted himself. Late at night in his Munich home, he would replay every missed chance, every failed pass, every moment where his intelligence hadn't been enough. What if they're right? He wondered. What if I've been fooling myself all these years? But champions aren't defined by their lowest moments. They're defined by how they respond to them. Because 2019-20 was coming, and Thomas Müller was about to remind everyone why intelligence always beats athleticism. Munich, 2020-2025. While others his age contemplated retirement, Thomas was hitting his creative peak. 756 appearances for Bayern Munich, more than any player in the club's history. 13 Bundesliga titles, more than any player ever. 178 Bundesliga assists since records began. The assist king of German football. But the numbers don't capture the real story. The real story is longevity, adaptation, relevance. In an era where players change clubs like fashion trends, Thomas remained a one-club man for 17 seasons. Because he understood something others didn't. True greatness isn't about peaks and valleys. It's about sustained excellence. His final season, age 35, still finding spaces, still creating magic. The FIFA Club World Cup, 2 goals in the group stage, proof that even at 35, the space interpreter could still read the game like a book. But this wasn't about individual glory anymore. This was about legacy. Today, when you watch Thomas Müller highlights, something remarkable happens. You realize there aren't any. No 30-yard screamers, no mazy dribbles, no bicycle kicks. Just a man who understood that football's greatest beauty often lies in the invisible. The term Raumdeuter, space interpreter, was invented just for him, but it captured something bigger about football itself. In a sport obsessed with athleticism and technique, Thomas proved that intelligence could trump both. He became the patron saint of every awkward kid who couldn't run fast or shoot hard, but understood the game on a deeper level. 250 150 goals for Bayern, 276 career assists, 34 major trophies. But his real achievement? He changed how we think about football excellence. For young players worldwide, Thomas showed that success comes in many forms. That being in the right place matters more than being the strongest person. That reading the game beats raw pace every single time. In the end, Thomas Müller's story isn't about spectacular goals or dramatic comebacks. It's about something more profound, the power of seeing what others can't. Every young player who chooses intelligence over ego carries his legacy. Every coach who values positioning over pace follows his blueprint. Every team that understands space better than speed echoes his philosophy. From a 10-year-old studying empty spaces in Pähl to Bayern Munich's all-time appearance leader, Thomas never changed his fundamental approach. He didn't chase the ball. He didn't chase glory. He didn't chase the spotlight. Because Thomas Müller understood football's greatest secret. The magic happens in the spaces between. He wasn't the fastest. He wasn't the strongest. He wasn't the most skillful. But he was exactly where football needed him to be, every single time. And in the end, that's all that mattered.